Hey family, hey family, hey family. It is your girl, Mrs. Michelle Allen Franklin, honey. Yes, Mrs. Michelle DIY for divine intervention, baby. You know there are no coincidences in this world. Only God's divine intervention in our lives. And Mrs. Community Builder, why? Because you know your girl is going to give you the good information, boo, the things you need for your mind, your body, your spirit, and your emotions. And family, y'all have no, we have been doing lessons and blessings, and your girl has transitioned to lessons and blessings 365. Why? Because I know phenomenal women and phenomenal people, honey, and we phenomenal 365, not just 1 month. Not just 1 month, honey, but shout out to all of the amazing women that participated in the Lessons and Blessings podcast episodes, honey. You can still catch them over on the YouTube channel, Reflections CMGF. That's where this one will be. Wow, we have an amazing guest today. Ah, this woman is doing phenomenal things, honey. She's doing amazing, phenomenal. Because she is amazing and phenomenal.
Thank you.
In the studio, Miss Michelle singing, hey, Bo.
Hello, 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 hello. Hey, girl. Hey, I am so happy to be here today, and just having the opportunity to sit here and share with you.
I know. Listen, me and Michelle have been trying to get this together for a while. And so I'm so grateful. God's timing is better than our timing. We both said it. God's timing is better than our timing. And so it worked out. It worked out.
Yes, yes, divine timing, divine timing.
Divine timing, but we have to get what this beautiful spirit is doing out in this world, because she is doing, oh my goodness. Wait till you hear about it. You're gonna get just a snippet of it today, but she is doing some amazing things in this world. You're doing some amazing things, Michelle. I just can't even. We're gonna get into it. Let's just jump right
Yeah,
on
let's get into it.
into it. So, Michelle, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you start working? Michelle has been working on some things with women and menopause and women's health. Tell us about what you're doing, Michelle.
Okay, well, I will start because I want to just, back up and say that I'm actually from Tyler, Texas. And a lot of people don't seem to think that, but was gone quite some time with my parents, and who my father was in the Navy. And so we traveled quite a bit. But I always came back here each and every summer to spend with both of my grandmothers, my great grandmothers, and watched how they operated in the world, watched how the wisdom that they had around them, watch the food and how we were able to go in the yard and have food, and the chickens were there, and it was all just a blend of life and nature and joy, right? And so those memories are the type of things that I'm trying to impart in us, creating a lifestyle and the ability for women to not only heal but pass on to the next generation a life that they do not have to heal from. um, so I've always had this strong interest in, women's health.
Yeah.
One of my master teachers always said, um, that if you teach a man to heal, he will heal himself. If you teach a woman to heal, she will heal a nation, right? So
Oh,
in
yeah.
that knowledge that I've been imparted, I just look to share further information and what I can with other women as we continue to build communities.
Yes.
And come back to that. So that's kind of where Soulfully Healthy Living is born out of. That is my wellness business. Now, I do still work in corporate America. So when I talk about, have my offerings and burnout or different things like that, I've been there, done that. So I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking out of love and through truth because I've been through that journey,
Yeah.
and how to kind of balance, the need to, we have, we're in a society where we have to work, but what does that look like for our energetic output and how our bodies flow and work as women,
Yeah.
so finding the balance between that, and then over the years, as I have gone through on my journey, I started to add components through, whether it be of course the plant-based eating, the yoga, Reiki, energy healing, different
Yeah.
things like that, different ways women that different modalities that women can really truly kind of fill their cup, and things that they can be taught to, do at home or just add a part of their life just to give them that sense of balance and activating that parasympathetic nervous system. So that's really what I do. There's a lot of little intricacies in there, but that's the meat of who I am and what I offer to this world. Um, there's other components with the sustainability and the farming and all that, the homesteading, but it still all connects. Yeah.
And so, what Michelle, she is such a plethora of things that you do. We are so multifaceted, and you are so multifaceted in the things that you do. But understanding, as I always say, that it is all things are working together. It is this
Mhm.
holistic approach to healing. And one of the things that we've talked about is just your work in perimenopause and your journey. And we were talking, and Michelle said, "I'm about to be 50." I'm like, 50 where? But where is it? Like, first off, look, where? But in the wisdom, right? You learn these things that are working together against us women as far as perimenopause and menopause. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, yes, yes. So I am. Thank you for that. I am about to be 50. But one of the things I do want to, list as a caveat, due to modern living, you may start to see or start to have women that have, symptoms as early as their mid 30s. So the myth that we're going to wait till 50 till we're really starting to see something is not really the case. And a lot of times the problem there is that no one talks about it. So a lot of times we just don't know.
Right.
Women are entering menopause earlier, as meaning menopause is a cessation of any type of bleeding for 12 months. So women are entering menopause in their 40s, right? And
Mhm.
it's science, evidence based that um, a woman can be in perimenopause anywhere from 7 to 10 years, up that long. So, meaning if you went into menopause at 45, you would start developing or could start developing symptoms at 35. So, what I do, and part of that, what I've added on to is this perimenopause menopause coach, right? It is a transition in life and it should be a beautiful experience, right? Because we're transitioning or should be transitioning into wisdom, but we don't honor those things. And so what I kind of hope to do is in this coaching and what we can do as far as bringing down the stress levels, helping your body to be able to be more focused, helping your body to be a little bit more in flow, whether that's many of the symptoms, the dryness, the itchiness, the hot flashes, all of those things, but bring them back into rhythm because we're all going to go through menopause if we live long enough at
Totally.
some point.
Mhm.
However, the stark issues that we see in Western society where we're having extreme, high rates of suicide or, job transitions or just people's lives imploding,
Yeah.
that gives us a sense to kind of say, what can we do to make that as it was intended to be? It's a part of cycle of life, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't be, um, it shouldn't feel like you're running a gauntlet.
Surely. Surely.
Yes.
People are suffering.
So, yeah.
Women are suffering, and exactly, we shouldn't be suffering. It should be a process, but you have to educate yourself. And for
Mhm.
you to say women, and I know personally some women that were in their 30s when they started, perimenopause. One of my really good girlfriends talks about it all the time. But like you said, we have no idea. You don't
Mhm.
understand how it shifts your mood. We talked about the divorce rate and how
Mhm.
it has a direct impact on the divorce rate because women are going crazy, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
We're going through all these vast emotions. I wouldn't say crazy, but going through all these vast emotions, and you don't even understand what's happening, and and we're suffering in the long run. And so, this is very important to educate yourself, ladies.
Yeah, and two, I would also look at it, like you said, not like you're going crazy,
Hmm.
but also you want to consider what our lives were before coming into perimenopause.
Yeah.
And if that was out of alignment to begin with, right?
Hmm.
Perimenopause is going to feel like you're falling off a cliff. So a lot of times it's not that women are going crazy, they're starting to find themselves. That
Exactly.
selves, that part of them that they had to tamp down to get through that marriage that was just barely hanging on, or to get through raising their kids, whether that was by themselves or with a husband that was there. Like there's a vast
Hmm.
stream of experiences that we have as women, even just getting there, right? And again, a lot of times when you say, women have given up careers to take care of their children, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times when we get to that that midlife transition, and you realize my kids are adult now, and I've forgotten what it is that I even like.
Yes. Yeah.
Or somebody's like, well, what do you like to do for fun? And you don't have an answer. What
Mhm.
happens is in that women they have to face themselves and say, I don't know who I am. I don't know myself. I can't even tell you what I enjoy doing
Yeah.
because outside of taking care of someone else, I don't know me anymore.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Oh, that's so significant. That is so significant. It is the work of who are you? You know,
mhm,
without those titles, especially as women, like we are so engulfed in our children's lives. We so engulfed in the marriage, living
mhm,
for others. And that's exactly, the premise of everything that I do because I lost myself for a while. I didn't realize, who I looked in the mirror, who are you? Like I didn't even recognize
mhm.
myself. So this is such a significant, just very important conversation. And I realize there are so many other women who may not be saying it, but you're feeling it.
Oh
You're
yeah.
definitely feeling it.
Oh
And so,
yeah, absolutely. And again, I just, again, I work with all women, from all walks of life. Um, and but what I found for women of color, for our women, is that we carry so much. We
mhm,
already have a heavy burden walking in, and I know we spoke a little bit about it before, but that's why I was this God gave me this vision to tie it back into earth. And when we spoke about becoming earth, because that's what it is. It's really about becoming ourselves. Like, who was that woman?
yes,
um when we look at how we are in this society, and we're constantly pushing because we got to work, we got to do this, we got to achieve, we got to go get this degree, we got to go do that, we got to pay this bill, boo, boo, boo. But when you look at women's natural cycle, before we went in cycles, right? Because as we have our 28 to 30-day cycle, right?
mhm,
That cycles with the same way you have cycle the moon, same way you cycle seasons. So our rhythm, there are times of the month where we should be resting,
yeah,
and then there's times where we should be giving out energy, but we don't, in this world, don't honor that. And so
yeah,
we push and we push until we're exhausted and we're tired and we're angry and we're
yeah,
burdened. And then the next thing you know, our hormones are already out of control because now we have fibroids and endo. And then we walk into perimenopause. What do you think that experience is going to be like? And
mhm,
that's the conversation we need to be having.
yeah. Wow. Wow. And not even understanding again that is how it's all tied together. So, talk to us a little bit about the solutions that you've come up with to help, or how do you help women, through these phases and even identifying where they are.
Okay. Yeah. So when I first began, I did a lot more one-on-ones, just one-to-one sessions where we would go through kind of like your holistic your life, um, things that you eat, how often you exercise, just in your, how you communicate,
Yeah.
what relationships were around you, that type of thing. And we went through your whole, like, full circle, and offered from that perspective, like, okay, we need emotional support. So I'm become a vessel, kind of like a coach, to move you through whatever that may be from a holistic perspective. Um, Now, with the component of perimenopause, I'm finding that it's better for me to reach women as a group and give them opportunity to not only communicate with me, but communicate with one another. So I
Yeah.
do have a group offering where it's just a monthly membership where they get the information. Some of the modalities that I do use are going to be your comedic yoga. It's going to be your breath work. It's going to
Yeah.
be your mindful meditation. We're looking to even um, like as I incorporate like things like somatic healing, which is more like bringing that mental health
Yeah.
perspective back
Yeah.
into the body. Where are you holding pain? How
Yeah.
do we release that? How do we even acknowledge that before we even get to releasing? How
Yeah.
do we even recognize that that shoulder
Yeah.
pain, and the reason I can't lift my shoulder is because I feel overly obligated, not
Yeah.
because I've actually torn anything. Like you get all the x-rays and there's nothing there. It's in
Yeah.
your head. Well, it
Yeah.
might be, but let's explore that. It's in your head, but it's also in your body. You've
So
been
you
holding pain and duty there, right?
absolutely.
So
Yes.
just exploring things like that, and you can kind of do that in a group setting. Again, you get all the components of that. I also offer womb work where we look at it. Stories that our wombs tell, right?
Mhm.
And this is where it can get really painful, but also really liberating.
Yes.
Because when we look at the rates of sexual assault, I, for a fact, developed this out of my own sexual trauma, in in college and going through life, not really truly being able to speak to that till
Yeah.
10 years later when I had a mental health crisis, right?
Yeah.
So really trying to like figure out what does healing mean? And that doesn't mean tamping it down in the body, right? Just because they've been quiet for that 10 years, I never gave it a chance to heal. So facing those things like that.
Yeah.
So that's usually where I'm on it's a smaller group, it's a deeper level. That's
Yes.
specifically a workshop. And then some of the other things I do, I think we mentioned earlier, like if you wanted your own um, special tea blend, particularly for you. So I do herbal support. Um, we're again all unique and dynamic individuals. So although I do have standard blends, sometimes you need something special for you.
Yes.
Um, so there's several things that I do in that manner. And but really all of it aligns with getting that back to that sense of self, activating that parasympathetic system to bring in that calm, to bring in that sense of a space and openness so that you can be able to function and understand what it is to thrive. So those are like I said, always a jumble of modalities once you start listing them out. But again, they all work this in synergetically to bring this space of like breath and healing within a woman. So,
This is bringing so much peace to my spirit. I just truly remember before I started my very intentional healing journey, and I would be at work, and anytime I felt any kind of stress, especially if it was financial or something very emotional in my family that was going on, my shoulder, the back of my muscle, like right over my shoulder blade, it would feel like somebody was punching or banging on me, or I had so much pain,
mhm,
having muscle spasms. And it would immediately start, and I only noticed because I got very intentional of when does this start and kinda looking at it. But just like
mhm,
you said, how we carry our emotions in our body, we don't even realize that
yeah,
that is showing up in our bodies like that, these trapped emotions. But each and every time I get stressed about any kind of financial situation it will show up in my shoulder blade. And, you thinking you getting a massage and wondering why your massages are not lasting, baby, it is because those
yeah,
trapped emotions that Michelle is talking about.
oh yeah, oh yeah. And you gotta a lot of us what we have like when we start to see things like fibroid, and I'll give you a perfect example. Um, I had been kind of in that health space, and I was, this is back in 2012 or so, and I had been raw vegan, I had been plant based, just eating just super well, thin as a rail, but just bright as a spark, and I
Yeah.
thought it was that.
Yeah.
And I had gone back into corporate work. And so, comes with that
Yeah.
the microaggressions, the stress,
Mhm.
whatever. And not even a year and a half after I had been back in there, I'm still eating the same way.
Yep.
But that stress, I come to found out that I had a fibroid.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, well, I'm doing everything they said,
So
whatever, because I knew that it ran in my family type of thing, right? So I'm really trying to change the trajectory of health, right?
yes.
And going through that and finding this program I went through with Queen Afua that taught more about not just the foods to eat,
Yes.
and how she takes you through the gateways, but how to heal the lessons from our womb, how to heal the hurt from our wounds,
Yes.
how to take that stress and and allow that to flow out of the body. Now
Yes.
it took me a while because I kept saying people would be like, oh, you go to surgery, and the first time I had gone to the doctor, they said, and the doctor, we're going to send you to surgery. I go to meet the surgeon. He talks to me for 3 minutes and it's like, oh, we're going to do a myomectomy. Just, okay, that'll be fine. Yeah, it's not going to take that long. We're just going to cut it. Da, 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 da. It never checked me, never looked at anything. I don't even know what, just boom, that was it. So I started going with this and I said, I'll give myself a year and then I'm going to go back to another doctor, but I want to be able to relate to this doctor and to make it make sense for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to, at that point, another doctor, and she was at UCLA. And she was the type of doctor that said, I want to do the least amount that I can to make
Mm-hmm.
it work. And so, come to find out, with all that work, the fibroid had actually was on, in the tissue, but it had actually kind of fallen on the inside of my womb. And I
Wow.
kept going. I kept doing it. I kept praying. By the time we get to the surgery, she says, and I'm thinking, oh, is it getting worse? Because now I'm starting to get a few more symptoms. But by the time I get to the surgery, it's sitting in my cervix.
Wow.
So we do the thing, and I get ready to, she says it's going to take a couple hours. We're going to go through the cervix, open it up, going to be fine, yada, yada, yada. We go in, I come out. She says there's going to be 2 hours later. I go in it. I think they roll me back at 8:15. She said it was going to be 2 hours. I was waking up at 9:05.
Wow.
And I said, well, that's not 2 hours. If it was 8:15 when I went back, that
Right.
means that I was in and out that quick.
Right.
And I said, ooh, okay, let me see. So I'm like, okay. So anyway, I go back for the checkup a week later, just to see where it was. And I asked her what happened. She said, girl, I don't know what you did. She said,
Wow.
but I know you said you did all the health stuff. She said, but God is good. She said, when we went in there, it was your body had expelled it. All we did was, and then the rest of it, we put a stitch in and the rest receded. Your body had expelled it out completely. And so that's what I was saying. Like, look at God. Like, He
Yeah.
gave me this way of really not only just healing that one thing, but it gave me this opening to have an understanding how to
Yeah.
heal my whole body, how to
Yeah.
release that pain from the hips because of sexual assault, how to stress because you feel like you obligated to take care of everyone. You're getting migraines because all these things that we connect to these emotions that we have. That Black women, we strong. We don't
Yeah.
hardly show nothing. Why? Because we
Mhm.
internalize it. It
Mhm.
goes somewhere.
Yes. Yes. Ooh, girl. Y'all don't
Yes.
understand. Look, y'all don't understand. I need you to get an understanding because what Michelle is saying is you can literally heal your body. And it's not, and I love the fact that it was a component of the combination because some
Mhm.
people, I'm very leery of people that will say you you only have to do it this way or you have to do it this way, you can only do it, from this holistic view. I really and truly thoroughly believe that the combination works together very well. And so I love the fact that you were working holistically, doing your holistic work, and then working, from a medical standpoint, because
Mhm.
I feel like that is sometimes the safest in a situation with fibroids and, different diagnoses and things like that, with your cancers and things. Um, it can get really blurry. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So it's very, very important for anybody that is doing this. And y'all know your girl has been a nurse for 25 years. And so, but I very much do know that holistic points work, as well
yes,
as, combining the medical piece works, because it worked for me as well, just like it worked for Michelle. Um, and positioning yourself so that you don't have to have this long drawn out, surgery, have this long drawn out treatment regimen, be,
yeah,
to the end of the road is where I want people to be. You have to be very intentional about the work that is going on, and then understanding and acknowledging something happened in me, this sexual assault, these things that may have happened to me that has affected my body. I was taught about the body keeps the score.
yes,
It's an amazing book. You can get it Amazon, you did YouTube it, like at any of the things. It's available. But it talks about how the body stores, and whether you remember or not of things that happened to you, because I didn't really remember. I blocked some things out. And so
yeah,
until I started getting intentional about my healing journey and trying to release, as you said, things that were trapped in my womb.
yeah,
A lot of things trapped in there, molestation, the sexual assault, even why I was having sex at a young age and really didn't even enjoy it. You know,
yeah,
those things are things that we very subconsciously don't even realize are going on. And so, Michelle, the work that you're doing is powerful, honey. It is so
yeah.
powerful, and it is just so necessary.
Oh yes, absolutely. And the one of the beautiful things I feel is that, and what I love about what I do, the more I teach, that's more that another woman can turn around and teach another generation. So,
Yeah,
can you imagine where we would be as women if we had this type of knowledge
yeah,
coming into our teen years and we went through some type of ascension into womanhood where we have an understanding of what we are, and who we are as women? Because sometimes we just get completely disconnected from our bodies because we have to, right?
yes,
Sometimes the pain, the trauma is so bad that we have to shut it out and it still records in the body. And that's okay, but we want to be able to start to access that and heal as a people.
yes,
Um, there's a lot of, when we talk about trauma, we have our trauma personally, but we also have ancestral trauma.
yeah,
And sometimes you can start to look in, you
yeah,
know, taking our people down a epigenetic path where they're looking at the epigenetic field and exploring what's there, to heal their own individual family line, not
yeah,
just their body. So there's a lot of beautiful things in it that can heal family relationships, the relationship with yourself,
mm,
your relationship with God,
yes,
and forgiveness and things like that. But there's also the physical side of it where, again, it can be a better health. Holistic, when I say holistic health, I am not looking at it as you come to me and I fix a problem. I'm teaching you how to live a way of life. That's
yes,
what holistic is. And it's there to
yes,
support what's there. Um, and then it also gives it, again, with the testing. So I also recommend testing. So a lot of times when I am doing some of the recommendations is because there is a test. If I can say, hey, you're a little low on vitamin D, which most Black women are at
yes,
some level, we're going
right,
to add, I'm going to add maybe a little nettle to nettles to your tea bag to make sure that you're getting different things like that and adding it through the herbs to support you on a daily basis. Even if the doctor says, okay, well, we're going to do vitamin D shots, but something just to keep you a well-rounded blend, for what's actually happening in your body. Well,
yeah,
I can't psychically see that you're low in vitamin D. I can probably ascertain from different questions that I'm asking you, but it also always helpful to be like, okay, I can see it right here in the physical that they test, they did a blood test and you're low here, here, and here.
Yes.
So that's typically how I work. So there's always a blend of evidence based
Yeah.
practices along with the um, holistic health. But again, like I said, it's a way of life.
Yeah.
Um, so
I think that is another beautiful point to make is this is a journey, guys.
mhm,
This is not, a one and done fix. Like we're in such a microwavable society, and
mhm.
honey, this is crock pot healing.
Yes,
This is
that's
going
just
back to
so.
the day, baby. This is crock pot healing. It takes some time, but on the other side, baby, it is worth the wait. You are worth the wait. You are worth, taking the time to put it all together, to figure it all out, what works for you. Very, very individualized, healing. And I love that. Michelle, talk a little bit about some other things that you have such a wealth of knowledge. Is there anything else that you're particularly wanting to share with women?
Well, I want to say that uh, my I don't know if this is the first, second, or third love, or it's all mixed in there together. But right there, along with women health, is sustainability and homesteading. So, one of the reasons that I moved back, I was at this point, lived in LA to New York and had gone back to LA. And God said, you know what, it's time to go home. And I said, no, 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 I'm not, no. And he got I ain't listened the first time. He got me home. It was some nonsense, but he got me home. I had to get rid of the nonsense as soon as I got here. But
Yeah,
I got back here and I got deeper into this work and started meeting women across Texas. And I was traveling to kind of spread the word about health. And uh, then we had COVID. And
yeah,
so that kind of hunkered everything down. But right before COVID, I said, this I was called home.
yeah,
And they said, go ahead and go home because your community needs this, right?
mhm,
We're losing the wise women, right?
mhm.
So I came home, and that's one of the things when I look at my grandmother. She was a praying woman. She went to church. She was on the usher board,
Yes,
all the things, but she had her herbs,
yeah,
right? It was summertime. We were eating plums and grapes and different things off the tree, right? So that kind of incorporates this sense of nature. We're people of the earth, right? And I think when we look at the economics of the country and what happened after slavery and sharecropper, it scared us away from the land. But
mm,
when you look at a lot of us in the city and we're hustling, bustling, and we're sick, right? So the other thing with that sense sustainability is the farming, the homesteading, because I want to give women the opportunity from wherever they are. A lot of times you'll see retreats over in other countries, and that may not necessarily be affordable, accessible. But what if we had the opportunity, or where a woman can come and get her hands in the dirt, understand about planting and growing her own food, and
yeah,
because that's something as a nation we need to start really thinking about. That's not this conversation, but we really need to think about that when we look at, you know, the supply chain with eggs and whatnot. I don't eat eggs. I'm plant based, but I raise eggs and I can sell my eggs to the community for $3, $3.50, that type of thing. That's how I give back to the community.
yeah,
That's enough to cover the feed and whatnot. So, doing things like that and learning to um, build healthy and sustainable futures for how to clean your water, how to create microcosms and permaculture, so that and you can have an opportunity to kind of filter out your air and
yeah,
clean that up. How to bring plants on the inside, and when you can do a tower and aquaponics and have at least some fresh lettuce and kale and things like that, because, well, you know, now we're back into soil health, right? And
yeah,
that's a whole other conversation up
yeah.
under agriculture that we could talk about. So, yeah, I can go deep on that permaculture and just talk about that for quite some time.
Well, I think that I remember the first time I heard someone, and this is just true transparency because just a city girl in me, and people were talking about planting their own foods and farming and that whole thing, and I just thought that's not something I would want to do, or that wasn't for me, and I just thought, oh, let me just not even listen to this part of the conversation because that's not anything that I will be doing, but you're right, as you look at the world and as you look at the different things that are happening, and once you realize that literally our food is killing us slowly,
Hmm.
research and understanding that all of, the different chemicals that they're adding to just our fruits, to our veggies,
Hmm.
what they're saying is organic, sometimes it's not. You know what I mean? And so it gets to a point where you realize, okay, maybe I need to pay attention to this because, you
Yeah.
know, is directly impacting our health, directly impacting. And so this is a very important conversation as well.
Oh yeah. I actually work you know I'm on the board for it, but I work with a film festival, and it's the Pembroke Chaparelli Arts and Film Festival, and that's been going for about 6 7 years. And it's a film festival based on social justice, right? And so that's one of the things that we were all artists, but we were very have different causes. And it's called Artivist and beautiful film festival. Each year there's a different theme. Well, one year it was environmentalism, and we were talking about that. And someone had made the comment and said, "Well, that's white people stuff, you
Yeah,
know, the environmental justice."
yeah,
And I said, "No, that's quite
mm,
the opposite."
that's
I
right.
said, "If they build a plant and they have chemicals that run off from that plant into water, whose neighborhood is it in?
Yeah, that's right.
If they want to build, when we look at our water systems, um, if they ran out of money for the good pipes and all they have is the cheap pipes that are probably going to corrode in a couple of years, whose neighborhood do they put those in?"
Yeah, that part.
That part.
Yeah,
So that is our fight.
yeah,
And so, and sometimes people don't realize that until there's a face to it that looks like them, and that's
mhm,
okay. And there are some people that are really doing some amazing work in that field that look like us. There's not enough of us, but I definitely feel that the more voices that we have in that area, it's
yeah,
beautiful. When you're looking at how much plastic we have, when you go to our side of the community, even here on the north side of Tyler. Tell me
mm,
how many grocery stores you see that have organic fruits and vegetables on the north side past a certain point. Is
no,
it just fast food?
right,
And
right,
then that's when we're talking about not food deserts. There's food there. It's just not good food, right? So now we're looking at an apartheid situation, food apartheid, right? A
mm,
separation of what's available.
mhm. And the
So
other,
that,
oh,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was saying, so that's that kind of culminates into that whole sense of the environment and our foods, like how all of that works together, um and how that affects our communities in particular.
Definitely, definitely. And I was gonna say, I was thinking about when I first started this journey in 2019, and I, very much was bucking against. I didn't start this journey to get into these foods and learn all this stuff, and I was just, just give me the information that I need, and all of this, right? I was just so negatively thinking, just statistically the person, right? But somebody said one time I was in a fasting call, and someone said, the facilitator at that time, he said, so the he said the oh, what's the word I want to say?
Hmm.
Most people say, look, I'm like, I can't get it out. I'm so excited about it, I can't even get it out. He said most people say that it's too expensive to eat healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people say it's too expensive to eat healthy. He said, but how expensive is it to pay for those doctor visits? More expensive is it to pay for the surgeries? How more expensive is it, right, to pay the healthcare cost that comes
Mm-hmm.
along with you staying? Like God, I
Yeah.
feel like God brings you the information when you can handle the information.
Yes. Yes.
And so I just feel like, again, there are no coincidences in this world. So whoever is watching this at this period of point of time, it must be meant. And it was stuff that I already knew that I needed to do, but for some reason I was still bucking against it, even though I knew, right?
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
know the things that we need to do. We know all the things, right? But we still buck against it, and we, use our own whatever
Yeah.
excuses in our minds. But it is when you're being offered the information, or God is presenting you with the information, that means that you're ready for change.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're ready for change. And it's not, go in the refrigerator. That's the other thing I'd like to impart to people. It's not go in the refrigerator and just throw all your bad stuff away or get rid of all your things, but it is
Mm-hmm.
getting the knowledge and then just starting to incorporate, some new habits. I just
Yeah.
started introducing new, fresh veggies and fruit once a week. I would just eat something different. I would try something different. I was not open at all to trying an avocado. I was like, "Oh no."
What?
I was like "Avocado? Ah, no. That's for white people, but don't the black people eat no avocados?" Right? The
Mm-hmm.
mindset, right? Shifting the mindset. And when I tell you, honey, I sliced up an avocado, put it on my salad last night. And
Yeah.
avocado is the healthiest fat that you can eat. You want it on your plate, boo.
Yeah.
It's not healthy. But it is a shift of mindset and understanding once you educate yourself, not overwhelming, because it can be very, very overwhelming.
Yeah.
But again, just what can you do? Very simply, I planted some tomatoes. I just made it when I got myself like, let me just try a tomato plant. They say that's the simplest thing to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Honey, the greatest little great tomatoes came off of that thing. I was so excited. You know what I mean? So it is
Yeah.
just it's just being open to what can you do? Michelle, for some people that are like, I've tried that before, it's overwhelming. Can you give them like maybe some steps of what would you say you can do, or something simple, a way to start, shifting?
Yeah, one of the things is, I always kind of laugh when people say like the Nike just do it.
Yes.
And so it's not even for me just do it, it's do something,
Yes.
one thing.
Yes.
And we all know they've had books on it and all kind of mindset talks. 21 days to set a habit.
Yes.
So even if you say, I am going to start with not eating fried foods for 21 days, no fried foods. Start there because you got to start where you are.
Yes.
You're not going to start where I did. And you got to think, I started this journey back in 2012. So this
Yes.
is a long time coming. So when people are like, oh, well, you don't look, well, I started 12, 13 years ago to
Yes.
get to here, right? So again, when I say this as a lifestyle, it's not a diet, right? So if that says, okay, I'm going to add, I eat 3 meals a day and I eat meat or fatty meat with each one, right? So
Mhm.
let's maybe we're going to take it down to I only eat meat once with 1 meal a day, and then everything else can be something a little bit healthier. Maybe I had some oats, maybe it was a little grits, but start somewhere. But you
Some
got to start where you are. That's first.
Yes.
Two, again, it's consistency,
Mhm.
right? But it's not perfection, right? So nobody's shooting for perfection. So
Yes.
it's consistently good versus occasionally perfect, right? Because then now you're setting up your mind that if I don't do it this perfect way, then I've
Yes.
fallen off the wagon. There is no wagon. We're
Yes.
still all walking on a trail.
The
So
wagon is
pick it up. Yeah, there's no judgment, right? Because we're not here to again judge ourselves, to be on a diet. It's not about weight loss, because those things will come. Those physical things will come, but again, it's about healing, and we
Yeah.
want to do that from the inside out,
Yeah.
right? So even mental health, inside out; physical health, inside out;
Yes.
beauty, inner child work, releasing trauma, inside out,
Yeah.
right? So again, just start with one thing and look for consistency, not perfection.
Honey, and please understand, you know your girl talks about perfectionism all the time. It is demonic. It is a chain. It will hold you hostage. It will keep you from doing all
Mhm.
the things that you are supposed to do. So, yes, don't do that to yourself. Give yourself some grace, and just walk your walk, honey. You fall down, the righteous man gets up how many times, right?
Yes, yes,
So get on back up again and try again the next day, honey. Give yourself some grace and just do it again the next day. Try something different. Find out what works for you. And I love what you said, Michelle, because we are in a comparison world. Like you just feel like you just are comparing yourself. You know, women, we do this a lot. You compare yourself to other women, and I want to do it like this or this, and I can't do it because you don't want to walk a mile in Michelle's shoes. You don't know what she's been through. You don't want to walk a mile
yes,
in my shoes, honey. Walk that mile in your shoes. Your journey, all of our journeys are going to be different, but we
yes,
all are, walking in the same direction, right? Of health, of wholeness. I call it generational wealth, an abundance of love, peace,
yes.
joy, happiness, understanding, faith, right?
All those things.
That is where we're trying to get to, and this is the road, honey. This is the road that leads you there.
Mm.
I feel full off all this good food, girl. You done talked about
Yes, yes. Well, and that's what it is. You want that feeling of fullness, because that's that sense of, I'm in light, I'm in divine
yes,
protection, I am in divine guidance.
yes,
That's that sense of satisfaction and trust.
yes,
How often do we as women get to be in our bodies and trust the world around us,
yes,
trust ourselves in that moment, trust who we are, trust that this space right now is safe?
yes.
How often do we get to have that opportunity?
Mm,
So that's what that feeling is, that space to be like, and that's what, God sent me to here, to be a vessel, to
yeah,
offer that sense of peace. Like, this is what God's divine order and balance, this is what it feels like.
I love it.
Kind of tap back into that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, Michelle, before we go, two questions. One is tell the people how they can get in contact with you if they want to join one of your programs, and what is that? What does that information entail?
Okay, so for my programs, they are going to be on www.soulfullyhealthyliving.com. All information will be coming through there. If you can go there and right now and just go ahead and hop on my newsletter, that'll be coming out. And so that'll have all information for any kind of programs that I have coming up, or even, like I said, little things like recipes, just a way to create your own soulfully healthy life. So that's what we're about, this lifestyle, this living of being healthy, of being loved, of being resourced, of
Yes,
being within your body, and just being at peace. Again, all of that's there. If you're looking for any of my herbs, they can be found at Painted Tree in the Afro Bohipsy booth, and there are like the women's herbs and some different crafts there from other artisans that we have here in town. So that's one way. We're in booth H9 under Afro Bohipsy. And again, the website, you can book either 101s currently,
yes,
as well as the herbal, if you want your own herbal recipe, that can also be booked. But feel free, again, just to reach out. I'm here in Tyler, Texas. I can be found on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, or wherever. So if you reach out and just need a little guidance, go ahead and just say hello. And then also you may see these about town. Now these are just for um, my community locally. I maybe one day I'll have them online, but maybe
Mhm.
not. But this is the Start Healthy magazine. You'll see these. These are complimentary of me, so it's great recipes and great articles for health, travel, different exercises for our community elders, any of those things. So I'm somewhere. I try to get out and about and meet people and
What's
make
that address locally here in Tyler? What's that address? You
Oh,
know
the
that?
address. You know what? It's in Cumberland Village. I don't have the actual address. It's in Cumberland Village where the Bed Bath and Beyond used to be. But that's the Painted Tree. It's I think a couple doors up from Kirkland's in the Dollar Tree. But it's
Just
on.
give me a landmark, honey, so we can find you. Yes.
Yes, that's the Tyler way. But I don't know what the. I know it's Broadway, but I don't know the numbers. But it's
Okay.
Cumberland Village. Yeah.
Cumberland Village, a little bit down from Kirkland's. We'll find you.
Yes, yes. You know what? And there's a lot of great artisans in there. Just yes, I definitely want to give my own self a plug, but there are some really cute art and antiques in there and little cute stuff. So it's like several different artisans from the East Texas area. Some of them are corporate, but good majority of them are from East Texas area, and everyone
Okay.
has their own little booth. So it's really cute. So definitely just stop by, just even if you're not.
I love that. That sounds so good. So, and I was just thinking, I said that sounds familiar because I was just over in Cumberland Mall the other
Mhm.
day, and so I remember seeing that sign coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now I'ma stop in.
Yes, stop in, stop in. Yeah, so I have my rest and relax teas, my perimenopause blends there. I got spray for hot flash, and one for balance. And then I have a green boost for your morning. You take that, gives you all of your green oxygenated
Oh,
values. So your wheatgrass, your spirulina, it's got some flaxseed in there, some cayenne, different things like that to kind of speed up your metabolism. So that's great to give you kind of an energy boost with no shake, um,
nice.
mm, things like that. So a little fun stuff.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. Listen, I need that over there today.
Yeah,
Well, I'm like, I love it, honey. I'm so, just grateful for the work that you're doing. And you talked a little bit earlier about God getting you here. We will buck against God's plan for us. And when I tell you, honey, you don't want God to make you do something. Baby,
yes,
you don't want him to make you do it. Just go ahead and be obedient and listen to them whispers and
yeah,
do what you
that's
supposed
all
to
I got.
do.
Listen, listen,
My
and
bright
I
bush.
mean that. Listen.
Be obedient, honey. Be obedient. I will tell you right now. I know we could share some stories.
Oh yes, yes.
Oh, that. But before we wrap up, as we're wrapping up, honey, the name of the series is Lessons and Blessings, and this is Lessons and Blessings 365. So I want you to share with the women what is, and you can do more than one, but what is a lesson that you have learned along the way in this almost 50 years?
I am God's divine light.
Yes, I love
And
that.
that's through all the ups, the downs, the good, the bad. What I have always been God's divine light.
Yes, yes. That is
Mhm.
amazing, honey, because we do feel like it's a little dim sometimes, and
Mhm.
we don't even understand that we are his children and we are light, because he's light
Mhm.
made through him. So yes, yes, honey, and we are shining. We out here shining bright, boo. You out here shining
Yes,
bright.
yes.
This
Yes,
little
and
light.
and I love that sense when we truly understand that as women, there are a
Yeah,
lot of things that we will do for ourselves and our health and our communities, and there's a lot of stuff that we will no longer put up with. Now,
that's
y'all
right.
can take that how you want to. That's a whole nother conversation. But
That
when
is a
you realize and recognize truly and hold it to heart that you
yes.
guys divine light, oh, you move differently.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is who you are and whose you are, baby.
Hmm.
Honey. Yes, you will. You will. Look and hold your head up while you're doing it and feel no ways about it.
Hmm.
Right? Unapologetically. I love it.
Yes.
Well, family, I'm full. Look, I don't know about you.
I know. I love it. I'm just like, yes, and I'm just ready again to spread the word, give women the opportunity to get their hands back in the land, um, and really just truly find their divine purpose and just live in their truths. Um, so all of
Yeah.
that, I'm just excited.
I love this. I love this for you, honey. I love this for you. And just the journey. Isn't it amazing how your healing journey is, probably was, a little crazy over here, Lord, why? Then you're going over here and Lord, what? And then you're over here. And then one day it just all makes sense how it's just the foundation, Romans 8 and 28, honey, it's all working together.
Oh
And the
yes.
thing all together, and you're like, Lord, what? Okay. You
Oh
all
yeah. And that's exactly what it was. There are so many
right.
times where I have either been distracted or gotten off path,
Yes.
or just been like, wait, what? You
Yes.
wanted me to do what? Um, I'm gonna need
Exactly.
some help, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But I think that's something, no one's path is direct. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that because, maybe if I had went directly, it would have little been, differently. I birthed Soulfully Healthy Living back in 2015. And
Mhm.
I wasn't doing perimenopause. No one was talking about it. At least you're getting voices out now, but no one was talking about that. And, I still looked like a little kid at that time. People thought I was in my 20s. Um, so it's just beautiful to see
Yeah.
that how we started the conversation talking about divine timing and,
Yes.
not always when you want them, but right
That's
on time
right.
is that I wasn't the woman then that I am now, right?
Yeah.
Because when we talk about competing, all I'm competing is the woman I was yesterday.
Yes.
Can I be better than what I was yesterday?
Yes.
Can I be a brighter light than what I was yesterday? You
Yes.
know, um, and it's not even so much that to look at it in a competitive way, is that I'm just in this sense of there is no one that needs to be worried about competition or anything. It's just me and my higher self. Am
That's
I
right.
glorifying the divine in me? Right. And that's something I ask myself every day. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at anyone else. Like, where am I going? Um, and I think that's kind of helped me get to where I was, because I think back then I was still beating myself up. And if I had
Mm.
a problem with perfectionism and getting past that, and I wouldn't do anything, it would take me drawn out just because it had to be just right. And then it doesn't connect with anyone.
Yeah.
So even still, there's a journey, and it's going to be a long journey because, again, this is a lifestyle change. So
Yeah.
I'm growing and I continue to learn. I'm always doing something to make sure that I'm bringing the best, the brightest, the latest to you, whether that's evidence based or even that's just through some natural healing. um, and so I think that's just something we should all do, um, just to grow the community and bring health, bring those statistics and all those numbers where we're doing health wise, bring
Yes.
that back. It's going to come through the women and
Yeah.
them helping the community. So we
Yes.
all need to be involved some
Def
way, somehow.
definitely. That was a huge thing that shifted me when I looked at the statistics and I was like, "Oh, oh, I'm not the only one? Oh, wait a minute. Oh no, we need to talk about this. We need to let me talk about it because I couldn't find anyone that was talking about. Let me talk about it. That Lord, what would you have me to do with this information? And so,
Yeah.
being a vessel is definitely our purpose. And how I see it is I always see Harriet Tubman, honey. She got free and then she came back and got some others to get free, baby. We can't free everyone, but who wants to go It's a way available, and we're going this way. Come on, let's go.
Mhm. Oh yes, I'm a firm believer in what does the saying, everybody can't go.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
yeah.
I know that's sad to say, but you know, we don't want we're not mules. We do reach back to help, but
Mhm.
we can't drag everybody with us. We don't
No,
have that kind of.
yeah. It's not a kicking and screaming and thing. It's whoever's ready. But whoever
Yep.
is ready, understand it's open as wide as it can be, honey. It's space for you, right?
Hmm.
It's
There
space.
you go.
So
When you're
come on,
ready.
boo. Look, come on, boo.
No. Yeah, because I'm like, you got to be ready for me. That's all I got.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. The healing journey, and it's not hard in a sense of difficult. It's
Hmm.
hard to look in the mirror at yourself and give yourself the grace, right? And to understand that some of the things that you've been through that maybe have been traumatic, maybe they have been you buried them, and to pull those things back out. People are like, why would you want to? Well, because inside of me is poison. Inside of me is cancer. Inside of me is high blood pressure.
Yes.
Inside of me is obesity. Inside of me, right?
Yeah.
It's corroding my body, ignoring it. And so
Yes.
that's why I'm like, all these things are working against me, and I have control over my part. I can fix these things within me. Why wouldn't I want to do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You
Why
know,
wouldn't I want to do?
yeah. And I get that. And sometimes, again, I always say, not even just for, but even just me.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just be easy.
Hmm.
That type of healing, that type of work can be scary.
It is.
And as a vessel, I understand that it can be scary, right? So that's why, you have your things that you do. Let's just get you to a path and
Yes.
get started and see you go at your pace.
Yeah.
But then what I offer over here for birth, those are for the women that have done the work and you're ready to move.
Yeah.
You're ready to move. But in that sense, a lot of times digging up those things can be so painful.
Mhm.
And when we look at how a lot of it, when we look at mental health and how it works, a lot of times in the West, you go to your therapy appointment, you bring something up, you're very raw, and then, oh, well, your 60 minutes is up. Now you're raw in the world till your next appointment, right?
Yeah.
So I can see where that sometimes that can be scary,
Right.
to kind of go through that. But like you said, if it's living in your body as disease and causing disease in your body,
Exactly.
then those are the things that you need to kind of walk through to, again, to release, right? And
Yes.
so, you have the understanding, but that's not, a lot of times people think that that's, when you get the internet and you get people, oh, I'm healing,
Yeah.
they don't show the ugly, snotty side where
Yes.
you're crying so hard you may be vomiting.
Yeah.
And that part is scary.
Yeah.
That's why people avoid it. Because
Mhm.
again, they do have to face themselves.
Yeah.
Um, and the trauma and relive the trauma. But again, a lot of times what happens is that we hide it, we tamp it in our bodies. And it's not even just us. Sometimes back in the day, you have that happen from generation to generation, and they just kept it quiet, or they called you fast, or you ate this type of food because that's what was available, and now
Yeah.
you have breasts at 9, and your cycle started at 9, and you
Yeah.
was out there looking like a woman, and it's all the stuff that you cannot fathom as a child, and you know what that does? That crushes you and kills that little girl within. So you have to go back and wake that up. Go
Yes.
get that little child. And some of us just are not ready to do that. And that's okay.
Yes, that's
When it
okay.
when Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's time, it's time. But if it's not time yet,
Yeah. And I do feel like as well, and we're closing, but I do feel like as well that when you are ready, you'll start seeing information. That's been my experience. As I was
mhm,
ready, I didn't know all of these things were inside of me. Like I started my journey, and I said, Lord, wherever you have me to go, wherever you have me to go, I'm going to go. And He led me to fasting. In the fasting group, I met a man. He talked about mirror work, Louise Hay. Okay, Lord, I
Mhm.
guess Louise Hay, that's it. So then after that, I went into 90, 30 days of change. This other lady, Lisa Meta. After that, I did, you know what I mean? It was just like
Yes.
each time I was ready for another level. Then, okay, Lord, I'm ready to deal with the abortion now. So I got led to an abortion healing weekend. You know what I mean? And so it is all of these things that are within you that you will unpack, but it's at your pace.
Yeah.
And I promise you, if you take one step, God will take two. He is leading and guiding you because he doesn't want us to suffer. We don't have to suffer. Everyone and everything that I needed is already around me. Everything that you need and everything that you want is already around you. The
Yeah.
people that you need to know, all of the things, it's already available. You just
Absolutely.
you just have to wake up and see it. Everything that I needed was here.
Mm-hmm.
And what's not there, God is leading you to as you go down the path and as you trust,
Yes.
right? Trust that God is leading you and guiding you in the direction that you need to go. Because again, we were not meant here. We were not called here. He didn't call us here to suffer. He
No,
called us
we were
here to
not.
live and to live life more abundantly. Right?
Yes.
So,
Yes. Love that.
Michelle,
Ooh,
thank you. Thank
thank you. Thank you.
you. Look, thank you, honey. Thank you.
Yes, no, today has been blessings on blessings on blessings. No.
Yeah. Honey, I'm going to get me some of this tea. I'm coming to the shop to see what's available. I'll probably go
Yes,
live.
yes. Yeah, I make a lot of small batches, but again, if you want anything particular, you reach out.
I am.
Um,
Look, I am, girl. We got to talk a little bit more, see what I need.
yes, there you go.
I
Love it.
love it. I love it. Well, family, look. Well, family. This
Until
has
we meet
been,
again.
listen, this has been another amazing, look,
Yeah.
phenomenal woman out here doing just phenomenal things for the community, honey. Again, you can reach Michelle on all the social media handles. She is on Facebook as Practitioner Michelle.
Yes,
If you
yes,
need
yeah,
to find her, she's on Facebook as Practitioner Michelle. And so you can find her on all the social media handles. And I will tag her on Facebook with this
yes,
episode, okay? And it's available. This episode will be available with all the other amazing women under the Lessons and Blessings podcast episodes. Y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. And y'all know your girl is gonna bring y'all another amazing woman. So y'all stay tuned, honey. Stay tuned. And
yeah.
inspire to inspire, honey, until I expire. That's what I'm doing, boo. What you doing?
Yeah.
Look what you doing. Bye, family.